Let me ask you something. Right now, you are looking at a screen. Behind you, there is a wall. Beneath you, there is a floor. And the question I want to ask you is this: what are those things actually made of? Not the surface answer, not atoms, not molecules. Let's go deeper, because the answer that modern physics gives us is one of the most disorienting, beautiful things that has ever been discovered about the nature of existence. And once you understand it, you will never look at a wall, a floor, or yourself the same way again. This is episode 3 of 0600 Protocol. This is the cosmic frame. In 1905, a 26-year-old patent clerk in Bern, Switzerland, wrote something on a piece of paper that changed everything. He wasn't working in a lab. He was sitting at a desk reviewing other people's inventions. And he wrote, E equal to mc square. Now you have seen this equation your whole life on t-shirts, on posters, on the walls of classrooms. But most of us were never told what it actually means. Let me break it down simply. E is energy, m is mass, the stuff, the physical, the solid, and c square is the speed of light squared. The equation says mass and energy are the same thing, different forms of the same underlying reality. Before Einstein, the world thought matter is solid stuff. Energy is the force acting on that stuff. Two separate things, hard line between them. After Einstein, matter is energy in a bound state, not two things, one thing in two expressions. Here is how to feel that, not just understand it. Take 1 gram of matter, a paperclip, a drop of water, one small thing. If you could convert that 1 gram completely into energy using E equal to mc square, the energy released would be equivalent to roughly 21 kilotons, the size of the Hiroshima bomb, from one paperclip. Because c square, the speed of light squared, is an astronomical multiplier. Mass is a form of energy. Matter is condensed energy. Einstein himself put it this way: matter is energy whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. Let me read it again slowly. Matter is energy whose vibration has been slowed down until it becomes solid enough to touch. The wall behind you is not a solid thing. It is energy vibrating at a frequency low enough that your hand experiences it as resistance. Now, physics today goes even further. Follow me here. I'm going to make this simple. In the quantum field theory, what we call particles are not tiny solid beads, not marbles, not little balls. They are excitations in underlying fields. Think of the ocean. Now think of a wave on that ocean. The wave is not a separate object. It is a disturbance in the water. It rises, it moves, it falls. The ocean continues. The electron is not a marble. It is a ripple in an electron field, a wave in the ocean. So what does that make the universe. Not objects, not things, but patterns of excitation in fields. Energy arranges as structure. And here is what physics tells us about those fields. There is no static substance underneath. No fixed, unchangeable material at the bottom of reality. What exists at the most fundamental level is dynamic fields and interactions between those dynamic fields. Everything is in motion. Everything is process. Even things that appear perfectly solid and still are at the quantum level in a constant dynamic flux. At the most fundamental level, reality consists of dynamic fields and interactions between them. There is no static substance beneath. For those who need to understand static is something that is not changing, that is, in other words, dead, or in other words, matter, or in other words, solid. Let me show you what this means in the world we actually live in. Energy have 4 visible phases. We encounter all of them every single day, but most of us never connect them back to the same source. Mass is frozen energy. Movement is a flowing energy. Heat is a disordered energy, and light is radiant energy. The chair you're sitting on is a frozen energy. The blood moving through your veins is a flowing energy, and the warmth in your chest when you love something is a disordered energy, metabolized. The morning light on your face, radiant energy traveling 150 million kilometers to reach you. And all of it, the same thing, the same fundamental reality in different states. The universe is not made of stuff. It is made of your relationship with energy. Hear me out here. I want to give you an image, one that you will not forget. Imagine the universe as an infinite ocean. The water is everywhere. It is the ground, the substance, the field. Now, somewhere in that ocean, the temperature drops. The water begins to freeze. Ice forms. Solids seemingly separate, seemingly independent. You can pick it. You can weigh it. You can even drop it and it makes sound. It looks completely different to the water it came from, but melted, and it is still the same water. Energy is the water. Matter is the ice. What E equal to mc square reveals is that the ice was never truly separate from the ocean. That stone on the street, ice. That car, that house, that tree, your body, this screen, all of it compressed energy held in a stable pattern. All of it, ice in the ocean of existence. Structure is stabilized energy. Time is the evolution of energy state, and entropy is the distribution of the energy. And similarly, structure in the ocean holding a shape. Time is the ocean flowing forward. Entropy is the ocean returning everything to water. Understand this. Get this right. Because what I'm trying to tell you here is the car that you dream of, or your dream house, or even your dream spouse is energy in the end. Now, I need to be honest with you about something, because this is where I could lose your trust if I am not precise. Physics does not use the word feminine. The textbooks do not say quantum fields are feminine. So let me be completely clear about what I am and I am not saying. I am not saying physics proves the feminine. I'm saying physics describes what ancient wisdom already named. Heraclitus, 5000 BC. Everything flows, nothing stand still. Taoism. The Tao, the underlying dynamic principle of all things. And Tantra. Shakti, the primordial energy, the dynamic force of existence. Modern physics, dynamic fields, quantum excitations, energy in motion. Different traditions, different centuries, different vocabularies, mapping the same territory. Ancient symbolism did not invent the feminine principle. It named what was always there. Physics is now measuring it. And here is what every tradition, scientific and ancient alike, agrees on. The first law of thermodynamics: energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Which means everything that has ever existed still exists in another form. The energy in your body today was inside a star billions of years ago. The energy in that star was the ocean before the ice formed. The ocean was already there before anything had a name. But, and this is important, do not romanticize this, not yet. Energy is not spiritual glow. It is quantifiable. It obeys conservation laws. It is measurable. This is not a limitation. That is what makes it powerful. Because anything that is real enough to measure is real enough to work with. So let's connect these. Reality at its most fundamental layer is dynamic, not static, not fixed, not solid. Process, motion, transformation. And what has every ancient tradition called the dynamic principle? The feminine. The masculine principle in physics, in philosophy, in biology is a stable pattern. The structure, the form, the eyes. The container that holds shape. The feminine principle is the dynamic energy, the force, the movement, the water. The things that fills the container and sometimes breaks it. Anything dynamic in the universe is feminine. Feminine is the dynamic energy, the flow. Masculine is the stable pattern, the structure. Not one above the other. Not one more real than the other. The ice needs the ocean to exist. The ocean needs temperature to form ice. The structure needs the energy. The energy needs the structure. Neither is the universe alone. Together, they are everything. The wall behind you is a frozen energy. The floor beneath you, compressed energy in a stable pattern. The screen you are looking at, energy vibrating at the precise frequency that your eyes were built to detect. And you, watching this, are not a solid thing moving through an empty space. You are a pattern of excitation in a field, a wave in the ocean, ice that has briefly forgotten it is water. You are not in the universe. You are a temporary pattern of the universe, looking at itself. Now, if that is what reality is made of, if you are energy in pattern, then the question is not how to improve yourself. The question is, what state is your energy in? And that question is what the next episode answers. Because if the universe is energy and you are the pattern of that energy, then your inner world is not separate from the physics of existence. Your inner world is the physics of existence. Made personal, made visible, made yours. That is episode 4. And it will change how you understand every emotion you've ever felt. Tonight, before you sleep, look at your hand and remember what you now know. That is not skin and bone. That is energy vibrating at a frequency low enough to touch. Frozen ocean, temporarily yours. This is the code. See you at 6. Go start your day.